episode number 176. Get in my belly! Recorded live Sunday, June 12, 2026, live from iTechGear Central. As I said, I'm Christopher Spera, the editor-in-chief over at the iTechGear.org. He's back. He's got power. Sort of. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sort of. Mr. Chris Gavula, the editor at iTechGear.org and the former contributing editor over at Gear Diary and the late great Pocket Now. How are you, sir?
Well, as you can tell, I'm a little hoarse this week, but I do have power again. So, that's something. We'll take that.
It does.
We'll take it for what it is.
Go around, does it not?
And air conditioning, yeah.
Yay.
God bless for this care.
Yeah.
I would have just gone out to the car if it got really bad.
That's
Yep.
it. And at $3.50 plus a gallon, who knows,
Well,
Mhm.
I can always take out another mortgage.
There you go. There you go. And thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
Also joining us, the editor here at iTechGear, and of course, the former contributing writer at Gear Diary, and currently the host of the Linux Link Tech Show, living in the Retro Arcade podcast, and fitness for the rest of us. That's Brother Joe McLaughlin. How are you, sir?
Doing just great. Managed to run my first trail run and didn't go on my ass. So that's a good thing.
good. That's good,
Yeah.
and congratulations for that.
Yep.
And good deal. You keep it up. You keep it up. You are a great example. So, unfortunately,
tried.
Dr. Mr. Larry McJunkin forgot about a previous engagement that he handed, and he will not be joining us this week. So we are doctorless here. But we'll do the best that we can to get through all of this without him.
And all his honorifics.
Huh?
I said, and all his honorifics.
And
we'll
all
be
his
missing all his.
honorifics. There you
We'll
go.
be missing all of them.
All of them. Absolutely. But one of the things that the folks over at Macworld are saying you probably won't miss is the iPhone Ultra. They're recommending that you skip it this time around because something better is coming. So what's going on with this, Chris?
Well, it's a little misleading, the title, but we often see misleading titles.
Well,
what
that's
they're-
just the way that it is.
Well, that's the way the world is today.
Yeah.
But having said that, what they're basically implying is that instead of getting the iPhone Ultra, which we also know possibly as the iPhone Fold or whatever name you want to know it under, they're saying maybe you're going to want to wait till next spring and look at the second generation iPhone Air. They think that's going to be the model that everybody
I
will
think
want.
that's going to be the one that everybody chases after.
Yeah, well, and I think I can understand it why they said this. I think Larry presented us with this story during the week,
Sure.
and it's an interesting story because the idea is that the iPhone Air, people didn't dislike the iPhone Air per se. They didn't but they didn't buy it, and the reason they didn't buy it was two big things: the battery really wasn't big enough,
Right.
and two, it kind of had a crappy camera, kids.
With the single lens camera,
It wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, for the price you were paying, you weren't getting a
you
very
should have
good
gotten
camera.
a little bit more. You should have.
Yeah,
gotten
so
a little bit more.
all you were getting for that price was the
Mhm.
aesthetics of the thing.
Right.
And people really liked the way it
thinness.
looked. They liked the way it looked. They liked the way it felt. It was balanced well.
Yep.
They liked all that, but they didn't like those compromises. They were too far. And I think I said that at the time. It was
Agreed.
too many compromises. But this new one that's coming in the spring theoretically will go to a dual lens setup on the camera.
That is
And it'll
the
have a
current
little
rumor.
bit and a little bit bigger battery is the rumor.
That also,
So
yes.
if those two things are true, well, it could certainly increase the
It
popularity
could
of
be a
this
really,
thing.
really good thing. The only thing, a phone that thin, and I had the same reservations about the Fold 7. All right, a phone that
gotcha.
thin. All right,
Uh-huh.
really kind of concerns me because bend-gate was a real thing. They did in fact bend. All right. Now with the Fold 7, it wasn't so much because 9 times out of 10 the thing's going to be folded in half and twice the thickness anyway.
Yeah.
So
And when you're opening it up, you're holding it with both hands usually.
both
and you're
hands,
managing.
right? And it's
So,
not going to
yeah.
be shoved in a pocket or something where you're going to put your
Right.
whole butt on it, right?
You're not going to sit on it unfolded, that's for sure.
Right, right. So I'm just
Well, and I think the other side of this equation that leads to this thought is that the what will be called the Ultra or the Fold is going to be really expensive. I mean, really expensive.
They're
And even
talking-
even though it
Some of the
might be.
rumors are pushing more than $2,000 for this phone.
Well, I don't think. I think all the rumors are saying it'll be over $2,000
Yeah.
at least. But
Yeah.
but the thing is, it's going to all come down to the compromises, because if there are too many compromises, nobody's going to pay it.
Right.
You know, and we know we already think they're going to have a dual camera lens in it rather than triple camera that we see in the Pros.
Right.
And they think the battery might be kind of meh. It's hard to know at this point.
Battery life,
so
maybe, and for something that really kind of unfolds into something very, very close to an iPad Mini, having mediocre or meh battery, not something that you want. I mean, you want something that's going to have a decent battery on it.
No, and we'll get into a little bit later. There's another conversation we're going to have later tonight about book style unfolding devices, whether that'll be a thing or not. It's hard to know because everybody seems to be leaning toward this. Apple's been the rumors that that's what they're going to. Rumors are also that that's what Samsung's going to go to, but we'll talk about that a little more later. But the point is, this is going to be a little different thing. It may sell, it may not sell. It may be a niche. I think at this price, it's going to be a niche very much for the same reason that the Apple Vision Pro is a niche.
At the 2,000 plus, right? $2,000 to $2,500 is where.
But keep in mind,
if
you take a high-end Pro Max right now, you're well over $2,000 when you do a high-end Pro Max today.
Right.
So if you take the new RAM prices that are coming out and you put this and you do something similar with this folding device and put it at like 1 terabyte and whatnot, you're going to get closer to $3,000 at best if you're lucky.
And that's ridiculous for a phone.
But I can see how they don't have a lot of choice with the way the chip prices are going. What do you do? How do you stop the train when it's going full speed?
Right.
Well, that's what happens. So the point is, unless those chip prices start to fall, this thing's going to start to become in crazy territory. And then we're getting up into Apple Vision Pro territory in our pricing.
Yeah.
And people are going to go, well, they wouldn't pay for it in the Apple Vision Pro, which was a truly unique, high-tech, amazing device in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But it was too much. It was out of people's pockets. I worry that
$3,500, it was way too much.
But I worry that this is going to find itself in the same situation, that they'll want it, but they won't. It'll be aspirational, but people will not generally be able to buy it. They won't be able to afford it.
I agree.
And that maybe we're speculating because we don't know. This thing is not on the market yet. But come on.
But all things being equal, right?
Well, and you consider the fact that Samsung's already bumped their pricing up. Their sevens they didn't bump their pricing up at the sevens. The rumored pricing for the Fold 8s are up there too now.
Right.
So
and we'll get into that later.
We'll get into that later. But the point I'm getting at is this range is not inconceivable right now for all these newer high-end devices. It's going to be up there, kids. It's going to be up there. So that may be another reason why the Air becomes more popular, because it's still unreasonably priced if it comes in where I think it's going to come in around $2,000, loaded up and everything.
Right.
But the Air would still be within we can do it range, kind of like the Pro Max is now. So really, then it'll become: do you get the Pro Max or do you get the Air? Depends on what you're looking, what your focus is. So yeah, I can see where they're coming with it, but it's interesting that that's what they think is going to be the thing to wait for. So we'll see.
Very true.
We'll see. It could be interesting.
We'll have to wait and see. But interesting that you mentioned the Apple Vision Pro, right? Yep. The Apple Vision Air, or the discounted or light version of the Vision product, right? The Vision brand. Is it canceled or is it not canceled? What's the latest scuttlebutt on this?
Well, this article is interesting because it really kind of sums up. It comes to almost a zero-sum game, this article. It kind of says, well, maybe it's canceled, and then in the end it says, no, maybe it's not. And they don't really come to a conclusion about whether it's...
We're setting an article over at Apple Insider on this one. So
and it really doesn't come to any conclusion about whether it's canceled or not. The rumors are all over the place. People have said, well, it's probably not canceled because Turnus liked the product and he's going to be the new CEO and all that. But he's also said things that make you think that, they're going to cancel the whole project and the whole line. So it's a little inconsistent. His statements have kind of contradicted each other. Until he officially says something as CEO, we'll know nothing. But the reality is, so there was going to be a light version of the Vision Pro, because Vision Pro is a very expensive device, starting at around $3,500 and going up depending on how you stack the memory.
Sure.
The light product was supposed to be half to 2/3 of the pricing. And they were going to basically cut it by coming up with a new set of screen kind of lens thing going on, which was going to cut the cost a lot. Samsung was developing this technology, and my problem is I don't want to see this in a lower resolution version. I might as well buy a Meta Quest at that point.
Sure.
But because you see, once you get much lower, you start to see what they call the screen door effect, which makes the whole thing look like it's a grid, like you're looking through a screen door.
Sure, you can actually see pixels and whatnot.
You can see that. And so with the Vision Pro, you really can't. So I don't want them to come up with lower. So as far as I'm concerned, yeah, don't screw with it. But Samsung's also developing these panels, which they may be using in their upcoming versions of their Samsung Galaxy XR headsets, for which are coming in at right now. They're coming in at what, 1,700, 1,800, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's an Android headset,
Sure.
that competes with this.
Sure.
It's got some challenges. It's not exactly perfect, and it's not exactly flying off the shelves either. But theoretically, these new panels were there. And so the rumor is that development on these panels was the key thing that they think that is why this person who wrote this article thinks maybe it's coming to a halt. But the problem is the panels are going to continue to be worked on till at least September. And they're not sure if that's a contractual issue or if that's Samsung trying to continue development on it because they're going to use it in their own products. Nobody knows.
Right.
So in other words, at best, the Vision Pro and the Vision Lite or whatever they were going to call it are still in the back burner somewhere. My gut feel is what I've said before. I don't think they're going to completely terminate the project, and the reason the whole project, not just the Lite version, but the whole Vision Pro, the wearable, if you will, is because they're using those technologies in other products already. They're starting to. They've been taking some things they developed for there, and they're using them in other ways. I think they're going to try to keep it on low burn. I don't think they're going to make a big deal of it. You won't see any major new versions or anything for a while.
Sure.
But I think they'll continue software development on it. If there's going to be anything that happens, it probably won't happen until maybe 2028 would be my guess. Because, and I say that, again, I don't have any insider information. This is just me speculating based on what they seem to be doing. And this could change. Turnus could get up on the stage in September when all the big announcements come out. And you kind of put the kibosh on all this.
Yeah.
But I just think they're getting.
Not only are we going to give you more cowbell, but we're going to give you more Vision Pro. Gotcha.
There you go.
It could be.
But I think, or less. They could
be.
Completely cancel it. But I think the reality is they're getting value out of this, even if they're not selling a lot of units. I think as long as they're getting some value out of it, they'll keep it going.
Okay.
Even if it's in the back end.
Okay.
I mean, this would not be the first product Apple's kept stewing in the back end, really not. I mean, look at the Apple TV. How much development has been in Apple TV in the last few years? And we had argued that it's because of Siri.
Last 10 years, not much.
Not much.
To be very, very honest,
Yeah.
I mean, they went up to 4 or 5K on the resolution for the movies,
but
and
it
that's
looks
really
the same.
been about it.
But really, the menu looks almost the same as it looked 10 years ago. Nothing's
It
changed.
hasn't really changed. The
So-
interface really hasn't changed.
Right.
There may have, from a
A
hardware
little more
perspective,
oomph, a little
there
more
may
power,
be a
but
little
not-
bit more
Yeah.
onboard storage, right? Because
Yeah,
the
and
movies are bigger.
And supposedly there's going to be a new one later this year. And the only reason they're talking about a new one is to add Siri to it.
Right.
That's the only reason they're talking about a new one. So the point
Right.
is, it wouldn't be the first time they've had a product that just sort of languished in the background.
Sure.
We talk about the HomePods. They
Oh
kind
my
of
God.
hung around, did
And
nothing exciting.
the minis too, the HomePod
And the
minis
minis.
too.
Yeah, but all that stuff is it's there.
I've got
They're
two
just not-
minis and I love them. And
You know,
they're awesome.
You know how I feel about the Vision Pro. I think the Vision Pro is an amazing device, but I also agree it's way out of price
Yeah.
for what people would use it for. It just doesn't generate it. So
Yeah.
in any case, I think it'll hang around. We'll see. We'll see what he says this fall.
Cool deal. And speaking of additional rumors, there is a rumor floating around that the iPhone 18 Pro and the Pro Max may actually be a little bit thicker than we previously thought. I had heard or had seen it may be up to 2 millimeters or 2.5 millimeters thicker than previous models, and that may be due to camera updates. That may be due to memory. That may be due to processor,
Battery. Batteries
Could be
possibility.
battery too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, is 2 millimeters really enough to get your underwear in a bunch over?
Well, I think these guys have compared it to some of the older models, which actually weighed more.
They
So,
were heavier. Yeah.
I'm not sure it's a big deal. I mean, people will carry around the Pro Max, and the Pro Max is pretty freaking heavy on the
The Pro
whole.
Max, it's a big device.
But it's
It is
balanced
a big
well, so
device.
you don't notice it. But it is a heavy device. It's a big
Yep.
device.
Yep.
So I don't think adding 2 millimeters is going to, especially. But if they're going to add thickness, they've got to show what they gave you for it. That's the
Right.
thing. They got to show you
Right.
why is this thing bigger?
Why? Right. It's going to be thicker, and here's the reason why. This is
And
what
here's
you're
the
going to
reason
get.
why.
Right.
Yep.
So
So I think people will buy it at that price. I don't think the thickness is going to drive people
I don't
away.
think it's that big of a deal.
No.
All right. Not
2
2
millimeter. I
millimeters.
mean,
Now,
2
3 to
millimeters
5
is not-
millimeters, little different story, but
But 2 millimeters is hardly anything in the big world.
No.
You aren't going to notice it.
no.
You
You
know,
know.
it's
Eh.
we'll see. We'll see.
We'll
But it's
see.
interesting. So, but all of these may be that way. They may be. We may have seen. It's funny. Some of these people say maybe we've seen the end of the thin era. Where everything's thin.
It
But
would
then
have
we've
been
got
a
the Airs.
really, really short era for Apple if they do that.
But now we have the Airs. The Air 2 supposedly coming out. So
Right.
but maybe they're going to differentiate now. Maybe a Pro will really be a Pro, and thickness isn't part of it. The Pro is a Pro because it has all the features, right? It has everything.
Yeah.
And whether that's thick or thin, it has everything.
Sure.
Maybe that's the idea. Maybe that's the thinking. I don't know. I guess we'll see.
I don't know either. It's another really interesting development, and we've heard this a little bit over the last couple of weeks or so, and we've kicked it around and made the show notes at one point, was pulled off, and
Yeah.
Apparently the M6 era for Apple Silicon is going to be very short-lived. It's looking really just to be about maybe 6 months before Apple starts the M7 push. Isn't that right, Joel?
That's according to what Gurman seems to think. There's not supposed to be M6 Pros and M6 Max chips, which, yeah.
And that's I guess that would be okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's really
they're
all
really wanting to get to the more
speculation at this
powerful
point.
chip. They're wanting to get to the more powerful
Well-
chip, which is the M7, right? Because of
Right.
AI needs.
Well, yeah. And I think people have to understand chip development. It isn't like they wait until they release the M5 before they start working on the M6, or wait till they
Sure.
release the M6 to start the M7. These things are often running in parallel. And if they
Yeah.
found some major new performance boosts in the sevens, I can absolutely see why they would jump toward them as quickly as they could.
Absolutely.
If that's the case, if they
They're
figured
probably
something, if they
doing
figure
more than
something out,
one- They're probably doing more than one of these at the same time. I wouldn't be surprised if they may have M6 and M7 in some limited fabrication just to see how things
Right.
go right now.
Right.
But they've probably got 8 and
Mhm.
9 on the drawing boards
yeah.
already.
And maybe they discovered something about the sevens that are like just majorly better.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, I could see why they would shift their efforts and
And I would
that thing
and I
out
would
faster.
say, get in my belly. Come on, gimme.
exactly. Yeah, just give us the faster one. Go for it.
Because that's really, what, especially for a
Well,
pro
yeah.
level chip, which is the Pro and the Maxes are. I mean, you really want the higher performing chips.
Well, especially if the M7 is going to come out and it's performing like the M6 Pro or Max would have showed up.
Right.
I can see why they would want to rush that. If it was going to look the same anyway, why do it this way? Just get it out
The
there.
question that I would have for you is if you're going to do that, why even have the 6 out there at all?
Probably because the base, they always do the base first and then they release the Pro and the Max later. And the base was probably way further along in the development. That's all.
Maybe they got to pay for the Pro and the Max somehow.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm
Sure.
sure. I'm sure
And all
it's
of this
time.
is really just rumor at this point.
It really is.
It could be. We could be completely wrong.
Yeah.
Well, in terms
Gee,
of
that never happens.
no, Gurman could be wrong. Gurman,
Yeah.
because we're taking his word for it. It's coming from him, right?
Right.
But the speculation of the Ys
Right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we were totally off base on that, completely,
Oh yeah,
Right.
no question,
seriously.
no
Mm-hmm.
question.
But we'll see.
But but you know what we know for sure? New chips are coming either way.
Mm-hmm.
They are coming round the bend. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
So we'll see what happens. There's a lot of speculation going on in the Apple circles. There's a lot of
Well, and the speculation is also that there's going to be servers. They're going to go
right.
back and release some of these AI servers.
Well, yeah. See, and that's really I think what they're hoping to see, what they are hoping to get to. There hasn't been a Mac server for more than 10
Yeah.
years. All right.
Yep.
No,
All right.
nope.
So there, and I believe the last server that they had was really more of a rack mounted server.
Yeah,
as
they
opposed
yeah
to a
they did.
standalone sort
Yeah.
of tower, right?
Well, and they were used a lot in data centers at the end of their life too, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Very reliable.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So maybe that's what they're trying to get to, is they're trying to get to some level of data center level machine, and hopefully that's where the Macs
Yeah.
and the
It could be.
Ultras are going to be.
And folks, remember, under the
focused.
hood, the Mac OS is a variant of BSD Unix. It's running Unix. So of
Right.
course,
Yeah.
it lends itself well to server farm environments as well.
Absolutely.
So there you go.
Absolutely. It does work and play well with other
Mhm.
versions of itself. So,
There you go.
so
Boy, that sounds terrible.
it does. It does.
Mhm.
Excuse me. I have to go to HR now.
Go
So-
go see HR now.
Thank you.
Man. You're
So,
Oh,
but
my.
yeah. So, and speaking of some of the good stuff and AI, I want to go ahead and I want to move us to our AI segment. I saw this first story here and I thought, no, that can't be. It can't be right. It can't be right. Illinois, of all states, and JB, I'm a pain in the gas, Pritzker, all right,
Mhm.
has signed the Illinois AI Safety Measures Act, or SB 315, into law. Now, what is SB 315, or the Illinois AI Safety Measures Act? This is, and what's interesting here is Illinois is the first state in the union, all right, and got over the finish line even before the federal government did too, in putting some level of bumpers around AI development. And this law is aimed specifically at the OpenAIs and the Anthropics and the Grok AIs, right? They are requiring that if you are the developer of an AI bot, that you have to follow their 7-point safety measure framework. All right, and I'm going to run through what these are just very, very quickly. You have to set up the following key safety measures: a frontier AI safety framework. You have to submit yourselves and make your work and all of your engineering, blah blah blah, subject to independent third-party audits. There must be transparent reporting for mobile capabilities, known limitations, potential catastrophic risks, et cetera, et cetera. There must be catastrophic risk assessment. All right, they must evaluate whether or not an AI system could materially contribute to things like death or serious injury to more than 50 people, more than $1 billion in property damage, blah blah blah. All right. When you do bump into an incident, you must have you must report it. They are required to report critical AI safety incidents to the Illinois Emergency Management Association and Office of Homeland Security within prescribed timeframes, usually 72 hours or sooner, depending on the type of threat and how imminent it actually may be. It requires that you protect or provide whistleblowers with protection. So if for whatever reason management says, "Nah, we're going to go ahead and do it anyway," and somebody blows the whistle on somebody from the inside blows the whistle, you can't.
Can't go after them. Huh?
You can't go after them for that, and there's going to be some level of so this is the first one. This is where really what makes it kind of interesting. This is the first one with teeth. This is because now they're not very sharp, all right, but everything else up to this point, including the 2 executive orders from President Biden and one or two executive orders from President Trump, which basically did absolutely nothing. This one has got enforcement built into it. The law authorizes civil penalties for noncompliance with fines reaching $1 million for an initial violation and up to $3 million for subsequent violations. So the summaries that I've got of the actual law doesn't necessarily go into how those fines are going to be assessed, when they will be assessed, who will assess them, etc. All right, but it does punch tickets for $1 million to $3 million for violations.
Let me ask you, so what's the scope on this thing? Is it going against people who use AI tools to develop things, or is it going against the AI tool makers themselves, like the Anthropics, like the OpenAI? Who's it actually targeted at?
So interestingly enough, the act does not regulate most businesses that simply use AI. All right.
Gotcha.
Companies that, as an example, use ChatGPT as part of their work tools. All right. Instead, it primarily targets large frontier AI developers, generally companies that develop cutting edge foundation models, operate at a very large computational scale, or meet substantial revenue thresholds, approximately $500 million annually. All right. This means that organizations such as major foundation model developers are the primary focus rather than typical enterprise AI adopters. So this is not going after the little guy. If you're creating a model, if you operate at a very large scale, if you've got all the the data centers behind you, or if you're making more than $500 million, you're going to be based on tool development. You're going to be subject to this particular law in the state of Illinois if you deploy in the state of Illinois.
And that was sort of my follow-up question, because that also speaks to scope as well.
Yeah.
If the thing in question was developed, let's say California, but deployed in Illinois, how are you going to go after them?
Well, if you are, I think that is still to be determined.
Gotcha.
All right. However, all right. My guess is that they will try to enforce it on OpenAI and Meta and Google and
they'll go
Microsoft.
for the big guys. They'll go for the big guys first. Yeah.
Right. To go ahead and make certain that regardless, if you're going to be offering those tools for sale, for subscription in Illinois, you're going to need to be compliant with this particular piece of legislation. All right. If you're going to sell it in Illinois, you're going to do this for Illinois. All right. Which basically makes it a national law anyway, because I don't know that there's an AI developer, a big AI developer that meets the criteria here in the state of Illinois. All right. So I wouldn't be surprised if Meta, Alphabet, / Google or Microsoft or Anthropic or OpenAI were all going to be required to be compliant with this.
I have a feeling. I read what you sent.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see somebody putting something together with this, but I also think it's a little vague the way it's written, and maybe that's deliberate. But the problem with that is they're going to have trouble with enforcement if it's too vague. And so,
and that's the biggest problem that all of the executive orders that have been previously released have. All right.
Or this is going to be applied in ways that the authors of the bill didn't intend it to be applied.
Sure.
There's a lot of possibilities. The way you could assume, I don't know.
Correct.
It's hard to know.
Correct.
especially when you're trying to determine scope of damages, because that was one of the parameters,
Right.
and things like that.
Right.
Risk assessment. Risk assessment's a really hard one to gauge.
Right.
So
this feeds directly into AI governance. All right, which
does.
is really my big topic for the year. All right.
But they had to start somewhere. I don't think this is good enough, but I think it's a start, and I'm happy to see a start.
Well, I two things, three things for me. All right. One, I agree with you. I don't think that this goes far enough. All right. And I don't think the teeth are sharp enough. And I don't think it goes into enough specifics about how this will be enforced. All right. It doesn't set up really any kind of a standard. And I think there needs to be one. But that's just without going down that rabbit hole. All right.
Yeah.
I was really very surprised that Illinois was the very first state in the union to come up with something like this. All right. Very, very surprised, because I did not think that Illinois, of all places, I thought maybe California or
New York,
Oregon,
possibly,
or Washington, somewhere, or even Massachusetts, because there's a lot of development and stuff going on up in Boston, right? Or even in Texas, because of what all the IT activity in Austin. I don't know, maybe those
Texas is a little. No, Texas is too business laissez-faire. They're not going to do that. They're just not going to do that. But that's not the point.
I did not think Illinois was going to be the state to actually come out with it first.
I would agree.
Right?
I would agree.
All right, that surprised me. That really, really
well,
did.
I'm glad to see it starting.
Honestly, I am a huge critic of J.B. Pritzker. I don't like him. I don't think he's done anything valuable.
Why don't you explain to folks who that is? Because
J.B. Pritzker is the governor of Illinois. He's the guy that
folks who don't know
signed this
that
into law here in the state of Illinois. I don't like J.B. Pritzker. I don't like his policies. I don't like his economics. I don't like, especially there's another gas tax that was put in place in Illinois yet again. It raised the price of gas 50 cents a gallon in Illinois. All right, and that went into effect on July 1st of this year. The last thing that people need to do is pay 50 cents more a gallon for gasoline right now. And I was really very surprised that the state of Illinois put this piece of legislation out. It's not bad. It's something. It's not the best. But this is the first swipe. This is the first piece of AI governance or AI governing legislation in the United States.
And this will get modified by what happens in court actions that are taken against this thing, and that'll happen. And as that happens, that'll modify what other laws other states come up with. And I think it'll be.
Or
it's
it may
fine.
even modify this one too. They may amend this too.
It will. But what I mean is this won't be a model for other states until it gets tried in the courts.
True.
Until then, you won't see other states doing exactly this.
Unless there's a huge AI developer like OpenAI or Anthropic challenges it and says, "Nuh-uh." All right. And I don't think they actually will, because there's really nothing here. All right, in terms of practice or process that is really an issue or a concern.
Well, that's my hope.
Really. All right.
But we've been screaming for bumpers. So guys, it's nice to see bumpers. We've been screaming for them for several years now.
This is the first actual legislational body that has actually published something, put something out there, and actually signed it into law. The AI laws at the national level, at the federal level, are still in committee. They're still being drafted. 4 or 5 years later, they're still in process of being drafted.
So let's talk about other lawsuits in the AI world.
Well, it's kind
not necessarily AI specific, but they are AI nonetheless.
Well, actually, this is OpenAI specific. This one is.
It is.
Apple has actually sued OpenAI because their previous VP of design actually left. So they're suing OpenAI and their previous VP of design for IP theft. So Joel, fought the rock. You're muted there, buddy.
Didn't figure out one, like to hear my sneezes. Anyway,
Fair enough.
so the two named defendants are Chang Liu and previous vice president of product design for iPhone and Apple Watch, Tang Yutan, have done to draw the companies. Specifically, suit claims that for months after leaving Apple, they stole and used Apple intellectual property to advance OpenAI's goals.
Now, interestingly enough, when those guys left Apple to go to OpenAI, it made the news. All
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
it
it
made
did.
the news.
It did.
And it was a big deal. For them to go ahead and step over the line and actually purposefully, with malice aforethought, take Apple intellectual property with them to advance their new employer. That, I mean, at their level, that's
And let's make it clear,
That's
the reason for the suit, near as I can tell, isn't because these guys left and went there. It's because apparently there's continued poaching, there's client lists, there's proprietary information, there's a missing laptop as part of this story. There's all sorts of side pieces to this. It's about actions they took after they left, or when they were leaving.
right.
So
So
that's
one of
the
them,
concerns.
has failed to return their Apple issued hardware. All right, and it was still authenticated to Apple to access Apple's networks. So they're VPNs, right?
Yep.
So,
I mean, there's talks about data that was taken, photographed, et cetera, et cetera. There's all sorts of conversations that they're having.
and apparently this guy, the guy that failed to return that, failed to return the hardware, actually told somebody at Apple that they were planning to access Apple information through that laptop.
Yep.
I mean, come on.
No. I mean, all of this, I mean, let's be honest, until this all shows up in a court record, it's all speculation and rumors, what we're hearing. But the fact is, it sounds like at some level, these people probably didn't behave as they should have when they left.
Right.
You know, especially considering how public their departure was.
Right.
I mean, come on. You're standing there out of the gopher hole. Why would you keep shooting your mouth off about stuff or do stuff? Why would you do that?
Right. No, but one of them went ahead and took a number of different files in terms of dozens, information, including information about unreleased products, engineering presentations, technical specifications, specifically about multi-layer motherboards and proprietary project data.
But again, that's allegedly. That's what's claimed by Apple. We have to be clear on that.
Yes.
That there's been no proof one way or the other. That's what Apple's claiming. So let's be clear about that.
But oh my God, and
but what a mess! What a mess!
Holy smokes! I mean,
right?
If this actually turns out to be proven as true, this is going to be a huge problem, not only for the people, the individuals in the suit, but for OpenAI.
Yeah,
it's going to be a huge problem for them.
I have a feeling we're going to be hearing about this one for a while, guys.
Right.
This is going to be This is going to be popping up every time somebody says something in the courts. This is going to be coming up. So get ready. The ride's just beginning.
Right. Right. And again, according to Apple's 500 lawyers that we talked about last week, 500 different lawyers, right, that they've got on staff over at Apple, right? Only OpenAI and Mr. Liu know all of the ways they have been exploiting the trove of Apple confidential information that was stolen, and to the extent that they have not concealed or destroyed the evidence of these misappropriations, it will be investigated thoroughly in discovery.
Let me add one more thing, is that these folks left in, I think it was 2024. Okay. It's taken Apple almost 2 years to put this up. So it would seem to me that they have something to say. If they waited 2 years and then they pull the trigger, they have to have some evidence of something.
There's got to be some proof.
That's a belief.
Not just evidence, but proof that the evidence that they have.
I mean,
supports the accusations that they are alleging.
It isn't like these guys just left and Apple said, "Hey, you're gone. Boom, I'm going to sue you for leaving."
Right.
Or
no,
they waited 2 years. or almost 2 years or something like that. So it's something's going on here that we just don't know. We just don't know what
Right.
it is.
Right.
You know,
So
so don't know the truth here. We'll find out.
no.
We'll hear about it.
no. So
Welcome to the courts.
And speaking of being wrong and doing wrong, Microsoft has finally admitted that it was wrong about AI. What do you mean they admit that they were wrong about AI, Chris?
Yeah,
what the hell is this?
Well, this is part of a larger conversation that we've all been having for quite a while now. Short form is of what this thing is telling us is that, look, we got rid of a lot of people have been saying we're going to put AI in place because it's going to make for cheaper employees. We're going to have more productivity, lower costs. And guess what?
Wrong.
It ain't true. It ain't true. And so everybody's starting to come to the conclusion, oopsie.
Yeah.
And they've given an example. The example this is based around is Microsoft, but it's not just Microsoft. There's others that are mentioned here in this story. Once again, they're finding AI doesn't do what they said it would do.
Yeah,
there's another
bro.
story.
My bad.
Well, and there's a side story I don't think is included in this one, but there's another conversation about they let OpenAI. Well, I think they were using Gemini as their basis for this, and they let it run a business, a coffee firm in Stockholm, I believe it was.
Okay.
And guess what it did?
What?
It basically took all the money and basically ran them into bankruptcy or close to that. It was the real people that kept it going because it just kept spending. It didn't realize, and it's because of problems and holes and limitations of these models.
Right.
It started out okay, and then it got stupid real fast.
Yep.
So the point is, these things didn't save money.
No.
They're just not saving the money that people think they are, and it's not doing what they think it's going to do.
Nope.
But you know what? Just one more version, and then we'll have it.
Yeah.
Just one more version, and we'll have it. Here, give me a little more venture capital. I just got to go a little further.
Yeah. I got your venture capital right here.
Which, by the way, you'll see a lot of articles running around lately. They're talking about how venture capital is drying up in the AI space. So
yeah,
this may become boom. This may go boom much faster. If it's true.
Bust, you mean?
Oh, no, I mean boom like as in kaboom.
Yeah.
In a bad way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I realize what, it ain't going to just break. It's going to explode.
It's going to implode
in a bad way. Yeah. So here we go. Here we are again.
So
enjoy.
Machine learning, and that's really what we've got right now. We don't have artificial intelligence, all right. No. But what we have is very, very sophisticated machine learning, and boy, is it amazing! It can do some really cool stuff. All right.
And most of those things that you like in your devices and things that you like in your tools that have been coming around lately, they're just machine learning, kids. They're not. Right. They're not generalized AI. They're just machine learning.
No,
implemented very well.
Right.
So
AI
don't get too excited.
Or artificial intelligence. I mean, it's really got to be. It has to be able to ideate and create on its own to be intelligent.
Well, that's what general AI is. AI is the term AI is kind of an umbrella covering all of it.
Right.
But general AI is the term that they use for self-awareness or some sort of
well, not necessarily self-awareness.
Ideation,
I'm just talking about ideation. Yeah, being able to create something original.
That's a little more specific.
Right.
So
what we've got is machine learning right now, and it can do a lot. It can do some really cool stuff.
It can.
But it
is.
But it can also make some really, really big mistakes. All right. So, and we've seen that. And it does. It does. And like I said over and over and over again, if I hear ChatGPT say to me one more time, my bad, bruh. I'm sorry.
Right.
I was wrong. I didn't. Yeah, I assumed this and did that, and it was wrong. I just gonna cancel the account and just be done. It's just absolutely crazy. You rely on those tools to provide you with credible.
The funny thing is, I've been playing with a lot of these tools, and I find that that happens all the time. You've heard me complain. It doesn't give me a complete answer. It gives me the wrong answer, and I'll say, it's the wrong answer, and it comes back with oh, you're right. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, my bad.
But they all do it. They all do it exactly the same thing in a very polite and nice way. They go, yes, I'm sorry. You're right. That's true. then why didn't you just find that out in the first place? Why?
Yes,
Because
if
we
you
have the
knew,
cheap models.
if you can come back and say yes that quickly that you were wrong, all right, that it was
And
wrong
why?
and that it didn't get it
Because
right, then why did you present the answer?
because we're using the free or the cheaper models. We are not given the more expensive models because they cost a lot more to run. And they're going to get it wrong too, but
The cheap
less
models.
likely.
Here's my complaint about the cheap models. Sometimes they get stuff wrong that all it takes is a simple Google search. It's like
that's what's amazing me.
"Eh,"
I'm with you, Joel. It's like, or like I said, if you say, "Hey, that's wrong," there's this, and you need to consider something, it comes back and says, "Oh yes," and it brings you more details. It says, "They're right. Here's the details you were asking for that they didn't give you the first time." If it's capable of doing that the second go round, why didn't you get it the first go round?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's because we're using the cheap model. They limit things about the scope, the memory, all these other things that they're doing. They don't want to use the more expensive models because they cost a lot more to run.
Well, but the problem is that usually that follow-up answer comes a lot quicker than the original answer did,
Isn't that true?
Which basically means it kind of did that lookup and was holding that information back.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, but the point is it didn't look. And it looked and it looked a little further.
I think my point is I think it looked. It looked.
We don't know, but either way, we know that it has to do with cost. At the end of the day, it's all about how much money.
It does.
How much money am I making from you, and how much are you paying me, and all that. That's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Yeah. So, and that, kids, is the AI segment for this week. I want to go ahead and move us into the one and only story that we have as part of our mobile segment this week. Samsung Unpacked, the second part of Samsung Unpacked. They had a Samsung Unpacked back in February of this year. They're having another one now on July 22nd, and the title of this one is "A New Shape is Unfolding." What do you think that means? Bueller?
Well, I think it's clear. I mean, the article says it pretty clearly too.
Yeah.
They're basically going to have theoretically two flavors of, we're going to call them book foldable models as opposed to the flip foldable kind of style. This is the book style that opens horizontally or rather than vertically. And they're going to apparently have the traditional one. They're going to start calling it, I say traditional, what I mean, what Samsung releases as a traditional form factor. And they're going to rename that theoretically the Ultra.
Yep.
And the base version of a Fold, which will just be called the Fold, will be more of a book style, like the original Pixel Fold looked, or like the theoretical new Apple Fold looked.
Right. So interesting. So two folds, one event. You've got the Galaxy Z Fold 8 wide, right, with a 7.6 inch inner display at 4x3. It's going to be wider than it is taller. It's going to have dual 50 megapixel cameras, 201 grams and 4.5 millimeters thin, and it's going to start at $19.99. All right. Like you said, the Galaxy Z Fold 8 Ultra will have an 8-inch inner display. It's going to be the classic tall fold shape, so the one that we're used to seeing now. It's going to have that triple camera system with the 200 megapixel main camera. It's going to be 4.1 millimeters thin, and meaning it will be the slimmest fold yet. All right, and the price on this one goes all the way up to 11 at $27.99.
And I think the whole thinking is, one is to have something to compete against the Apple Fold, first of all. And so that, just in case that format takes off, because they don't know if that format will take off, and they're going to make screens for Apple anyway, so they might as well.
Sure.
And then I think the second thing is, everybody's really, really nervous and scared about what happens with these new chip prices and the new versions of things that are coming out. And so they need something to buffer in a slightly lower price point, or the price
Right.
point where they're just vacating.
Right.
That's
So,
what I think. That's what it comes down to.
right.
They're
So
looking for.
so they're only having the all right. So for everything that we're expecting, we're looking for the Flip 8. All right. We're looking for the Fold 8 wide. All right. We're looking for the Fold 8 Ultra, the Galaxy Watch Ultra 2, and then Galaxy glasses.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No display, just glasses with Gemini.
Yeah. That's a theory, and the Flip is supposed to basically be not very dissimilar than the current flips are, maybe a tiny bit thinner, is what I'm hearing. Maybe using the better folding technology that hides the crease a little better. That's about
Maybe.
it.
Right. So I would not expect a lot of change in the Flip, if
No.
anything at all. All
No,
right.
very little.
You're going to see a little bit of change in the folds because one's going to be wider than it is taller, right? And then the other is going to be more traditional in terms of what a fold is or was, and but that one's going to be,
It's funny.
up to almost three grand.
It's funny to use the word traditional when talking about fold devices.
Yeah, true. All right.
Because they're not that old, kids. They're really not.
Right.
Hard to have tradition.
Right. And the Ultra, the Watch Ultra 2 is supposed to have a 784 milliamp battery, which is up about a third from the original's 590. Yeah. So, and then Samsung's releasing its first pair of glasses, Galaxy glasses. Yeah. So
that's what theory says. We'll see.
That's what we're anticipating. But
and when are they slated to do this again? In
the 22nd.
Very soon, 22nd. So another week or so.
Yeah.
Week and a half, whatever.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it'll be in about 2 weeks, right? Yep. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, it's mostly about price. That's the main reason they're going this route. That and the fact they want to get a wide format out there before Apple does, so they can. So Apple doesn't control it. Yeah, for splitting into a fold, a wide version of a fold.
Oh yeah,
the traditional fold. It's about getting ahead of the price jumps that the traditional fold is going to take. Yeah. It's really about that.
Right.
It's also trying to get ahead of the form factor. If they release a wide format before Apple does, Apple doesn't control the narrative. Samsung wants to control the narrative.
Samsung can, but I still think that Apple will end up coming out on top in terms of company position.
It's interesting because Samsung's tried this before, where they've tried to do something before Apple did it, when they knew they were contributing to the technology involved, by the way.
Right.
And it didn't go all that well for Samsung. So I'm not sure they want to be the ones in the lead on this one. I think they might want to wait till Apple does what it's going to do, but okay.
Yeah.
Because Apple may fall hard on its belly with that anyway. So
right. And apparently, interestingly enough, the Galaxy glasses are going to come in anywhere between $379 to $499, which is anywhere between $80 to $120 more than Meta's $299 starting point. So
again, unless they're going to offer something more. But there are people that would rather deal with Samsung than deal with Meta. So hard to know.
Yeah,
hard to know what'll drive it. I really don't know.
So we'll see what happens. I would be interested to see what they actually do release and at what price points. We will probably cover some of those results next week, or not next week, but the week of the 26th.
Following week,
yeah. So anyway,
all right.
But so that is our mobile segment, and I'm going to get us into our Windows and Linux segment, but I'm going to do that right after this brief message. Hi, this is Christopher Spera from iTechGear.org. I wanted to talk with you today about becoming a contributing donor to our site. iTechGear.org and our weekly podcast, the iTechGear Weekly, has been around for over 15 years, and the show is entering its 6th season in September of 2026. I've never actively asked for any kind of donations to the site. It's always been about me providing value to you. And everyone working with the site and the show is having a great time providing you with some of the best free content available from time-tested OG product reviewers, testers, site founders, and professional writers and editors on the internet. I truly believe our crew has some of the best and most qualified commentators on the internet today. However, times are really tough. And since the COVID-19 pandemic of 2020 to 2023, it's become increasingly difficult for small independent sites like iTechGear.org to stay afloat. I normally do this with a portion of my day job salary, but with the IT market so tight, it's sometimes difficult for many to make normal household ends meet, let alone fund a site and a podcast on their own. If you find any of our content on iTechGear.org or from the iTechGear Weekly of any value, I would genuinely appreciate it if you could make a donation of any amount to our efforts. All donations will go to site maintenance and hosting and to podcast hosting and everything iTechGear related. Donations can be made to my PayPal account at chris@iTechGear.org. Make a donation, and we'll immediately thank you on the next iTechGear Weekly episode and voice our gratitude. Thank you for your time and consideration. Now, let's get back to the latest iTechGear Weekly episode. And welcome back to the iTechGear Weekly episode number 176. Get in my belly! All right, I want to move us to our Windows and Linux segment. We've got a couple of interesting developments here.
My goodness.
Honest to God, it's not that I'm adverse to spinning the wheel or that we've done it too much, but I mean, oh my God, you know, some of these.
Go for it. Go for it. You know you really want it.
Oh, Joel, spin that big wheel. Go ahead.
If it'll go.
It didn't come through on this end, but that's okay. That's okay. Anyway, long and the short of it, here he is, kids.
We did it in spirit.
In
okay?
spirit. Thank you. Thank you.
You know why? Because we
Why?
ran out of disk space.
Yes. Well, if you were running Windows, then absolutely you would, especially with. There it is. There it is. There's that big wheel. Thank you. You know, and Microsoft has got there's a Windows bug that's out there that will claim up to 500 gigabytes of hard disk space, hard drive space. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this being reported by our friends over at ZDNet and Lance Whitney specifically. This one released as part of the Windows June and or July updates. There's a bug that's out there that where Windows can claim up to half a terabyte worth of disk space, and it is a Windows system file that just for whatever reason just keeps on growing. You can delete that. You can find it. You can delete that file. It'll come back, and it'll grow back. And you can delete that file, and it'll grow back. So, apparently that this particular file is part of the Capability Access Manager service, which is a very obscure file that manages the permissions granted to applications to access the camera, the microphone, location, and other privacy-minded features. This particular extension indicates that the file stores any changes in a write-ahead log before they've written anything to the main database. And the file itself can certainly grow as it needs to keep track of more data. The bug, however, seems to in Windows seems to cause it to expand to as much as half a terabyte, according to one Redditor who posted a message over a year ago. Over a year ago, Microsoft has known about this, kids. If you want to check to see if you've got disk shortage problems, go to Settings, select System, then select Storage, and under the first bar image, click the link for Show More Categories. If the category for System in Reserve shows more than 2 or 3 dozen gigabytes, or no more than 2 or 3 dozen gigabytes, so no more than 24 to 36 gigabytes, then you're fine. You're not affected. But if it indicates a size that stretches beyond 100 gigabytes, then you've got the bug. You've got the bug, and you're being affected.
And this article goes on to tell you, don't try to go and get it and delete it yourself.
No,
because you can't. You're even. But well, no, they're saying you're even denied permission to the folder that's in, and they're telling to use a number of tools. They give you some tools to try to take care of it. But basically, there's a preview update that's come out on June 23rd that's supposed to fix it. So theoretically, there's a
preview
fix.
update. So if you want to go ahead and really get into some Microsoft pre-release software, as opposed to the software that's supposedly going through all of the freaking testing that it's supposed to go through,
supposedly, yeah,
you know, then by all means jump onto that boat and take those chances. All right.
Yeah.
I think a lot of folks have got enough problems as it stands. Microsoft,
right?
Thank you very much. They don't, if they're not used to pre-release software, the last thing that you want them to do is to jump on a Windows pre-release channel that's going to have this particular fix and then be subject to all sorts of other crap that goes on. So, yeah, no, thank you.
I'm getting so tired of this. Every week,
it's another disaster. Seriously, it's another disaster every week. Every freaking week.
What do we got? Kids with no experience whatsoever writing this crap because.
I think that the Microsoft's QA department is now being staffed by
I know what happened.
2 chimpanzees and a Starfleet trainee.
I know what happened. I know what's happened.
What?
The Microsoft QA staff is now working out of the nursery.
Yeah, there you go. So
that's what's going on. I gotcha.
Yeah, no, seriously, really kind of makes you wonder what the hell is going on and who's running the store, because I think the inmates are running the asylum. Oh,
clearly something's going on here.
Right. And speaking of the inmates running the asylum, apparently IT admins are sick of Microsoft garbage apps and products. Isn't that right, Joel? Now you're muted.
Yeah. I mean, with the latest security update that broke the recycle bin and a whole bunch of other things, it's like one user wrote, "I'm so sick of Microsoft. Their latest security patch broke probably our most important business app. Uninstalling the patch breaks off with 365 apps in RDS environments. So the options are either you can't use the app or you can't use any Office 365 product until they clean up their mess. But shoving Copilot into every facet of existence is what really important, right?" Someone broke up this company already.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, you and I don't, because we were talking about this several weeks ago.
Yeah.
I had my work PC update.
Yeah.
And they're controlling which updates we receive. We're not even allowed to receive all the updates. And it said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't install this Windows update. I'm going to roll back now." And it didn't roll back. It got me into a permanent wouldn't boot correctly loop, to the point that they had to give me a new PC, wiped clean.
Right.
And when I talked to somebody about it, they said, "Hey, sorry to create this." He said, "Oh no, everyone that has your model has had this problem." There was something that blew up every one of these in the company. It's like, wow. Okay. And so as a corporate person, I lost some corporate data that I was able to recreate, but other people, if they ran into the same situation and they lost data, this is costing companies money. We don't have time this is not just about being mad. We don't have time or energy or money for this.
Right.
They're costing us money now, Microsoft.
It's not just the time or energy. It's the
Right.
money that
It's the money you're
it's
costing
the money
us.
that they are costing companies to resolve the issues. All right.
Yep.
And to troubleshoot, resolve, and otherwise fix the problem. Getting you a new machine. Yeah, you got to spin up a new machine.
You got to
Right.
You got to ship it.
And then you got to ship it and then get it out to that person. And then that person's they're not just gonna go jump in and start using that machine. They're gonna go ahead and massage it a little bit to get it exactly the way that they need it.
Yeah.
And that takes time.
And recreating any data you lost. I mean, there's money. There's dollar values that are associated with all of this.
Absolutely.
And Microsoft doesn't seem to give a crap.
Nope. And they really just don't. And I don't understand. I mean,
I don't know.
I understand that the consumer products or the desktop is not where the money is made anymore. All right, it's all in the services and server products is where they're making their money, and I get that. But if they can't keep their consumer products or their enterprise products bug free to the point where it doesn't cost them money to unscrew things that Microsoft has screwed up, what makes Microsoft think that anybody is going to go chase after their services? And subscriptions.
It's all the whole notion that used to be Apple put machines in schools to get kids to like Apple machines. That's what they used to do.
Yep.
Microsoft needs to keep desktop and enterprise, home and enterprise users happy because it brings you into the other services. Yep. I ain't coming into your playground if your sand is all filled with glass. I ain't coming to play there.
or other things
or other bad things hiding in the sand
because it is a sandbox. All right?
And that's the point. It's just nasty. And I'll be honest with you, and I've told you this before. I use my Windows computers as little as I have to do them now because I'm so disappointed in them.
Yep.
And I'm just very, very disappointed in them.
Yeah, no, Mac is a much safer way to go. Nowadays.
Well, or Linux for that sake.
is a much safer way to go nowadays.
Even Linux with its inconsistencies is more stable than this piece of crap.
More usable, more reliable.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just don't get it. I don't get why they can't get it together.
It used to be the wild card out there. It used to be, that used to be the operating system that walked around the office in those big fuzzy chaps.
And Windows NT used to be a big server platform. Now people are walking away from that and moving toward, whatever flavor of Linux you like.
Yeah.
They're moving toward it, and that's where they're building their servers.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they're
there's a reason for that.
And they aren't as volatile.
They don't have these. I'm not saying they have no issues. They do.
They have their issues.
They
are a little harder or a little bit more complicated, quote unquote, complicated to maintain and service. All right.
But the point is, if you can turn it up and it just keeps running for the most part, guess what? You've done yourself a favor.
Absolutely.
As an IT administrator, you're happy. And Windows can't deliver that anymore.
Not
they can't deliver it on the server platform, not just on their workstation platforms, on their server platforms. They're not any more stable either.
No,
this is crazy. This is just crazy. Microsoft fixed this crap. We're tired of it. There.
Honest to God, if Microsoft wants to stay in business, then they need to get their shit together. All right?
Yeah, they really do.
They really need to get it together and make certain that issues like this don't escape out of their testing department or groups. All right.
Well,
this bug should never have, and they've known about this for more than a year.
Yeah, that's disappointing. You mean the space one? Yeah, the running out of space one.
Yes, they've known about it for more than a year. Why is it taking them a year now to go and chase after this? Why?
Mm-hmm.
And we've gone through this week after week. How many issues have we talked about over the last year or 2 years? How many issues have we gone over with their updates and with their software?
Too many.
Way too many.
Well, I mean, when you talk about we normally go ahead and have at least on the average, I would say about 3 shows a month because so for whatever reason, there's always one. All right. So 3 times. So there's 36 different months.
At least.
All right.
It's just been ridiculous. It's got to stop.
36 different shows, right? Over the
I'm
last year.
I'm
36
surprised
different
people
shows
haven't.
over the last year where we've been complaining about
Well,
Microsoft screwing things up and causing problems on the desktop. At least 36 different shows. So 36 different weeks.
And we have seen this, that their market percentage is shrinking.
Yep.
It seems like it's a slow shrinkage, but remember that represents tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of users every time 1% shrinks.
Yep.
That's a lot of users to lose every time.
Absolutely.
Guys, pay attention, please. Get this thing
Stop
fixed,
screwing around.
please.
Well, and it's a problem when you got folks like Linus Tech Tips.
Yeah.
Looking into Linux, running games.
Yeah. And more people. What's even more interesting than that, because we've always had some, I'm going to call it semi-decent kind of gaming tools on Linux for a while now.
Yeah.
They're doing it on Mac now. They're looking at gaming on Macs.
Yep.
And talking about the performance is finally getting to be appropriate. Okay. Why would you talk about that? Because the Mac has never been a gaming machine. Why on earth would you go down that path? Unless you felt like you had no other choice. And
Right.
that's what people feel like. People feel like they don't have another choice. They have to get off the platform. They don't feel safe or happy or
Agreed.
stable or anything else. So
Agreed.
Come on, Microsoft. This isn't costing you that much to fix. Just fix it. You make billions of dollars. Just fix it. Throw a little money at this problem.
Yep.
Throw some expertise, throw some human expertise at this
Well,
problem. Figure
for
out
it.
the
Just get some
process
money.
issues and solve the
Right.
problem.
It isn't that hard to do. It doesn't cost you that much in terms of your overall revenue. Just get it done. We'll all have a lot more faith in your other products if you do. So just do it.
Very
Please.
true. Very, very true. Public confidence in Copilot, Azure, any of their server products will dramatically increase when they show that the one operating system that is most likely to work with those services and products well, i.e. their own operating system, doesn't blow up on a regular basis.
Absolutely true.
I mean, come on, that's not rocket science.
No, come on, guys.
But
do
that's
it.
just me. That's just me. All right. And that, kids, is the Windows and Linux segment for this week.
My.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get us into our tip of the week segment. But before we actually get to the tip of the week segment, I want to go ahead and remind everybody that, our Windows tips are developed here at iTechGear because we were founded with the intent of making technology easier for everyone to use and understand. And so this team specifically has dedicated the bulk of their writing careers to this specific purpose, meaning we want to make technology easy for everybody. So every week, as part of the show, we're going to have a computing tip authored by one of our experienced editors. And if you've got questions, concerns, comments, requests, whatever, you can go ahead and send those over to tips@itechgear.org. And if we use your submission, we will go ahead and give you your 15 seconds worth of fame. We'll mention you on the air and say thank you. So go ahead and send those over. Again, tips@itechgear.org. This week I want to talk about this week's tip is a Mac tip. All right. Did you guys know that you can actually rename multiple files all at once on your Mac? And
Yes.
just by using Finder, not with a third-party utility, but you can do this with Finder. All
It's a
right?
good thing.
Which is a good thing. You can batch renaming, as we call it, is one of those things, and quiet productivity boosters that save you from tedious, repetitive work. you can select multiple files in Finder, right click and choose rename. All right. From there, you can add text, replace text, or apply a consistent naming format with numbers and dates. This is incredibly useful if you're going to, organize photos or other kinds of graphics, or some kind of an exported report or other kind of text file, or any group of files that need consistent naming. Instead of renaming each file individually and slowly losing your will to live in the process, you can standardize everything in seconds. For example, you can turn IMG underscore 001 underscore 002 into client A report 1, client A report 2 with just a few clicks. This kind of consistency makes searching, sorting, and sharing files much easier. It's a small thing, all right, but it has a huge impact, and it's already built into the operating system. You don't need something like a Better Finder Rename or any other kind of other third-party tool to rename a large volume of files. And once you use it a few times, you're never going to go back to the old way of one at a time. All right. So open up a Finder window, go to the folder that you want to rename all these files in, select the one or more files, and then right click that file grouping and choose rename. You're going to get a little dialog box that's going to pop up with a couple of different drop downs that will allow you to select what you want to do, and then some fields in order to be able to set the patterns up. And it's quick, easy, and it's free. You've already got it on your computer right now. And just a little bit of work will help you get a handle on it. So there you go. You can rename multiple files all at once on your Mac. And that is this week's tip of the week.
Very nice.
Yep.
So I'm going to move us to our pick of the week segment. But before we get to that, I want to just take a moment to remind everyone that our show picks are typically hardware, software, and other items of interest that we have individually purchased and that we actually use, and we like enough that we want to recommend them to you, our growing listener base. Again, these are not paid advertisements or anything that we have any kind of an affiliated marketing relationship with. If they were, the editorial policy over at iTechGear.org indicates that we have to go ahead and notify you about that up front. These are just things that we sincerely believe in, and we want to bring to you at the end of each show. Why, Joel?
Because we like you.
There you go, man. What do you got this week?
All right. Rare 2 weeks in a row that I haven't picked, but that's because Larry's not here.
Mm-hmm.
So, as y'all know, I've been on a health kick for quite a few years now, and one of the things that I haven't been able to enjoy that I now can, thanks to this week's pick, is ice cream. So what am I talking about? Well, just picked up a Ninja Creamy.
Ooh.
So basically, Ninja, they've done lots of different kitchen appliances, but this one is real unique in that it can make ice cream in a very different way than most of us, definitely both Chris's here, have made ice cream at home in the past. Used to be involved rock salt, ice, sometimes cooking on a stove, things like that, to make your base, and then I don't know about you guys, but in my day, we had to crank it with an actual mechanical crank.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So this isn't like that at all. Basically, you make up your base, stick it in a freezer for 24 hours, and then you pull it out and you put it in the machine and creamify it. Then you can also mix in things like chocolate chips, cookies, whatever you would like.
Chopped fruit, whatever whatever makes your ice cream treat special.
Correct. And the nice thing is you can make it extremely healthy. Like, for example, instead of using milk, you can use almond milk. You can add protein powder, which is what I do to it.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can make like I have a clear protein that I use for post workout. I've taken a scoop of that, made it up like a normal protein shake, and then added like 4 or 5 strawberries,
Mm-hmm.
blended it all up, and put it in there, and made a sorbet, a protein sorbet. So
So that's cool. All right.
yep.
And the
Eh,
nice thing about this is that once you get the hang of it all right,
Mm-hmm.
and you're really using this thing, it's all top rack dishwasher safe.
Correct.
All right, so you can go ahead and make that mess and just
Mm-hmm.
dump it in the dishwasher on the top rack, and it'll clean it
Yep.
right up.
And what I do is I will make up. Mine came with 2. I bought 2 extra,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm probably gonna buy even more extra later on. But I just like to just make the bases up, stick them in the freezer. When I want some, pull it out, make it.
Stick it
So,
in the right. Stick it in the machine to mix it up and
yep,
and make it all night because it'll be hard in frozen in the once you mix that base
yes,
up. All right,
yep,
the machine will actually go ahead and mix it so the like a Blizzard treat or a McFlurry or whatever. Um,
yes, it can do that too.
you can stick whatever you want in it, and then when you stick it in the machine, it'll soften up that ice cream and it'll mix all of those external or third party ingredients in there and actually make it something that you really want to
Yep,
eat.
and you can make gelato. You can make milkshakes with it. With ice cream is already made.
Yep.
But I'm sticking with the protein one, and I even got my son to eat some too, and he likes it too.
Yeah.
It's really good. I
What's
love
really
it.
cool about
It's
this though is it's got 7 built-in different programs, right? So it'll
yes.
do 7 different actions with that base that you've
Mhm.
got, right?
Yep.
So this could be pretty cool. And like you
Yep.
said, you can stick anything you want to, whether it's that protein powder or whether it's that dried
Yep.
kale that you've been dying to go ahead and get into your whatever it is to
Mm.
go ahead and you can
I
you
don't
can
know if
go
I
ahead
do
and do that
that.
too. So
I
it'll
will
be
say this:
yep.
there are more than one of these. There's an extra large one which does 24-ounce containers.
Yep.
I have the 16-ounce one. I prefer that actually because my typical base that I'm making now, uh, until I put mix-ins in, it's under 300 calories
There you go.
and 20 grams of protein.
There you go.
So, really healthy for me. It helps me enjoy ice cream, stay on plan, and I can eat the whole freaking pint and
Yep.
not feel guilty.
Yep. And they've also got an
So,
attachment that'll sit right next to the creamy that will actually take that creamified base, that whipped base, and turn it into soft serve. So you could actually stick it on top of
that's
cones
if you
if you
get the
want.
swirl one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I don't have the swirl one. Uh, I'm just happy with the one I have. It
No,
works
no, no,
great.
no. But the point
Yeah.
is, that you can get quite elaborate with this.
Yes, you
You know,
can.
you can get quite elaborate with this in the way because that base that you mix up and you stick in the freezer and freeze then
Hmm.
is gonna become hard and difficult to work with. The machine will go ahead and whip that up, make it real creamy. You can stick fruit in there. You can stick
Yep.
candy, gummies, cookie dough, chocolate chips, whatever it is that you want to stick in there, and it'll make your bowl. It'll make your soft serve. It'll make your milkshake. Whatever it is that you're looking for.
Yep.
So, very very
Yep.
cool.
I
Now,
highly recommend it.
how much is this thing? The base doodad for this is what?
The one I bought mine at Walmart. I paid about 169, but it's on Amazon for 130.
Okay,
Uh, the swirl one is gonna run you about 250. So, which or actually 280,
280.
280.
Okay.
Which, yeah, I kind of decided against the swirl one.
Unless you got to
just
have
because-
soft serve swirl,
Yeah.
for your cone, then yeah.
Yep. And I just eat it out of the pints. I don't care.
Yeah, and they sell those. So when you say the pint, those are those plastic BPA free,
Yes.
dishwasher safe containers that you stick the base.
They're
in
about-
and you freeze the base.
They're about 10 a piece. Although you can find some knockoffs that are a little bit cheaper that do work.
Yeah. But the whole
I love
idea is that you can mix up a bunch of this
Mm-hmm.
base, put it in these pints, stick it in the freezer, and then pull them out whenever you want something that's nice, smooth, and creamy to eat.
Yep.
So there
Yep.
you go.
I love it. It's great
Not
stuff.
bad. Yeah.
Yep.
The scoop and swirl ice cream maker from Ninja is $2.79.
Yeah.
So yeah. There you go. All right,
And
man.
that
So that is.
is-
Thank you, Joel, for coming up with that. That is the show for this week. This has been
Yep.
the iTechGear Weekly, episode number 176. Get in my belly. Recorded
Absolutely.
live Sunday, July 12th, 2026, live from iTechGear Central. For Mr. Chris Gavula, Brother Joe McLaughlin, and the missing doctor, Mr. Larry McJunkin, I want to say, hey, we will see you next time.